Hello everyone! You know how some people just copy other artists' work? Luckily, there are those who are genuinely creative and talented. But then there's these guys, the stars of our latest selection. They've taken creativity to a whole new level. Want to meet them? Then let's get it on. Back in the day, typewriters were the go-to before computers and keyboards took over. A ton of famous novels were written on these things. Today, they're mostly used for decoration, but this guy took it to another level by using them to make art. This artist realized that typewriters aren't just for writing books. They can be used for painting, too. With thousands of symbols and letters, he creates actual paintings, all while enjoying the super satisfying ASMR process. Given how crazy housing prices are these days, a house like this might not seem too surprising. But here's the thing. It's actually a piece of art. Erwin Wurm created this house back in 2010, and like all his work, the main feature is its weird, distorted shape. Inside, everything is super narrow, from the rooms to the furniture. You can totally visit this house if you want, but fair warning, it's not exactly spacious. In fact, only one person can fit inside at a time, and if you're claustrophobic, you might want to skip this one altogether. Instead of causing outrage, this plastic car brings joy to everyone who sees it, all because it's made entirely out of Lego bricks. Imagine how much you'd have to love playing with Lego to create a full-size, drivable car out of those tiny pieces. And yes, you heard that right, the car actually moves. Chances are you had no idea what this was at first glance, right? That's because creating something so realistic that it confuses people is a serious talent. What's even more amazing is that the artist made this sculpture all by himself using just wood and paint. AI's got nothing on this level of skill. I bet this artist partner doesn't let him anywhere near the ironing board. It's not because he burns the clothes though, but because after he's done, the clothes probably have more wrinkles than before. Check out how this artist turns a huge piece of fabric into an incredible portrait. The final result is mind-blowing, but the process is just as amazing to watch. You've never seen anything quite like this piece of art? It's a massive sphere, about 4 meters across with an image on it. When you stand still and let the sphere spin, it feels like you're the one moving, like you're turning around and seeing a 360-degree view. Creating something like this takes a ton of work. We're talking months of effort for the artist. This girl hit the jackpot with her talent. It's both creepy and amazing. Her ability to create insane makeup looks is out of this world. The only potential drawback is that some people might develop new phobias after seeing her work. But let's be real, she'd kill it in the horror film industry. Can you guess what makes this place so special? It's the tiny, super detailed houses that this artist creates using whatever materials he has at hand. Look at the level of realism. Each building has signs, bars on the windows, and even plants. I bet this guy could build a whole mini city in no time. This guy turned his garage into a sculpture studio, using metal and tools to create statues. It just goes to show that there's always room for creativity no matter what you do. You might be thinking that construction workers can't be talented artists, right? Well, think again. The members of this crew decided to shatter those stereotypes and show the world what they're truly capable of. It's hard enough to believe that someone could paint the Mona Lisa on the ground, but it's even harder to wrap your head around the fact that they did it using excavators. This pro hairstylist isn't fazed by any request. Seriously, she's seen it all and never backs down from a challenge. In just a few hours, she can turn her client's hair into mind-blowing architectural masterpieces. I mean, I have no idea what kind of event you can go to with these hairstyles, but one thing's for sure, they're gonna turn heads and leave everyone in awe. You won't find these shoes in any store because this genius makes them by hand, and each pair is one of a kind. He can whip up a pair of sneakers that actually score goals, transform sneakers into a campsite for ants, and shake up the fashion world using stones. To really appreciate how awesome this artwork is, you gotta get up close and personal. After a few steps, you'll realize that the crack isn't real. And if you get even closer to the wall, you might find yourself totally mesmerized. The next time you're about to throw away a box, remember this artist who turns what most people consider trash into incredible works of art. But here's the catch. If you want to see these masterpieces, you'll have to wait until it gets dark and use a flashlight. And if you look at the artwork from a different angle, you'll discover a surprise in the form of even more artwork. You might think this artist is painting outdoors, which he technically is, but that's not quite it. I'd say he's making canvases. That's a way better description of what he does. And check out the results. He can leave his paintings out in nature, sit back and watch people bump into the canvas. Totally amazed. Think you can't paint because you don't have fancy brushes or other tools? Think again. This guy, for example, creates incredible paintings without any special contraptions. All he needs are paints, canvases, his body, and some serious talent. And let's be real, the latter is probably the most important thing when it comes to creating these amazing works. While the rest of us have normal talents, this guy has an actual superpower. He can disappear! Okay, his body doesn't actually vanish, but thanks to his ability to perfectly reproduce the environment on his clothes, he can blend in better than any chameleon. Imagine walking along and suddenly realizing someone was there the whole time. Next time you go ice fishing, instead of just waiting for the fish to bite, be like this guy. All you need is a simple tool and the ice on the surface of the lake to create some amazing sculptures. The key thing to remember is safety. You don't want to end up frozen like an ice cube. Your favorite neighbor at 7 in the morning. Well, luckily this guy is working outdoors and not inside an apartment block. I'm sure all the people who live nearby know what he's doing and are more than willing to put up with a little noise so that the facade of his building becomes incredibly cool. Oh, and unlike graffiti, this artwork is gonna be pretty tough to hide. Imagine if knights had their grandmothers help them get ready for battles. When a talented hairdresser has some wild ideas and a client with a thick head of hair, the possibilities are endless. I'd love to see this guy walking around town with a sculpture on his head. It would be a sight to behold. You're probably thinking, the perfect Halloween purse doesn't exist! But it totally does. I can't even begin to imagine what was going through this girl's mind when she dreamed up this accessory, but the result is absolutely awesome! Would you be bold enough to rock it on your way to the grocery store? This is what next level makeup artistry looks like! How many hours do you think it takes her to create something like this? Some people believe that breaking glass brings bad luck, while others think it's a sign of good fortune. But for this artist, breaking glass is his unique way of creating stunning art. His unusual method lets him create something new by destroying the material. Pretty poetic, isn't it? Imagine the thrill he feels when he smashes the glass with a hammer. It's probably the same excitement visitors feel when they see his exhibitions. The artworks are incredibly beautiful, don't you think? You know how people say that no matter how you look at the Mona Lisa, her eyes follow you? Well, the artist behind this painting just schooled Da Vinci on optical illusions. I can't even wrap my head around how this works. I could seriously stare at this for hours. Taxidermy is this super intricate process that's often used to make museum exhibits. But without skills, even real animal skin won't look convincing. That's why most taxidermists are also amazing sculptors. Just imagine the time and effort it took to make this deer look so lifelike that it's drawing a crowd at a museum. From the initial idea to the final product, everything about this tiny masterpiece is flawless. When you got skills, anything can become a work of art. Take this artist, for example. He created a beautiful sculpture using 1,000 wooden blocks. It's mind-boggling how he turned something so rough and awkward into a realistic and refined work. Any clown would feel totally outmatched and hide their balloon animals after seeing this. I mean, could you have even imagined that balloons could be used to create such a lifelike portrait before watching this video? This girl has seriously upped the game on the whole aesthetic breakfast trend. I doubt there's any restaurant in the world serving sandwiches this gorgeous. You've got to be super creative to get inspired by a slice of bread, some butter, and cheese. The only downside is that this breakfast isn't exactly quick to make, so if you're running late for work, you might want to stick with something more simple. Plus, not everyone would have the heart to eat something this beautiful. Who hasn't doodled in the margins of a book when they were bored? While some of us got scolded for ruining books, this artist was encouraged to keep going. After years of practice, her drawings have become amazing works of art that are just as cool as the books they're in. If I were a writer, I'd totally collaborate with her to create special editions. They'd be incredibly valuable. Think about the insane skill it takes to draw hyperrealistic objects with just pencils. At first, you might think the video is edited or something, but no, it's all real. Probably has tried to pick up one of his own drawings, thinking it was a real object. Are you wondering why this bird isn't moving? Well, here's the thing, it's not actually alive. In fact, it's not even a real bird. On one hand, this artist's works look incredibly realistic, but if you look at them from another angle, your brain will explode! Unlike other artists who cut out special pieces to create these kinds of works, this guy uses random objects, from small toys to pocket watches and pens. It's like he can turn anything into art, which is seriously impressive! This car isn't clipping through the ground. It was actually designed to look that way. I'm not sure if the creator wanted to turn heads on the road or just save some cash on rims and tires, but he definitely managed to grab people's attention and get them to gather around this unique car. Believe it or not, these insane drawings weren't created by some alien artist. They were made by an ordinary human being. Using a special tool, this artist draws intricate patterns in the sand, turning entire beaches into massive works of art. But here's the catch. The only way to truly appreciate these transformed landscapes is from way high up in the air. You won't believe what this guy can do with just a needle and thread. Not only does he create hyper-realistic animal embroideries, but his creations hide not one, but two works of art. He found someone with the same talent. Now they can create these cool embroideries twice as fast and make sure there are no imperfections on the back. The award for the most original self-portrait ever has to go to this guy. It's insane what can happen when creativity and design skills come together. This mechanism spins around 6 full times in just 10 seconds. But that's all it takes to blow the minds of those lucky enough to see it. It's because of talented people like this that the rest of us start thinking, I don't need this, but I totally want it. If you saw this on the street, you'd definitely do a double take, and then another, and another. These shoes are seriously mind-boggling. The designer has managed to recreate the shape and look of a foot so realistically that it's mind-blowing. If you didn't know any better, you'd think it was some alien walking among us. But nope, it's just an insanely talented girl. This is one impressive work of art, right? Creating a perfect cube with suspended elements is no easy feat. But hold on, because it gets even cooler. Your eyes aren't deceiving you! Surprisingly, this masterpiece wasn't created by a spider, but by contemporary artist Sarah Morgan. In the hands of this craftsman, a simple piece of wood comes to life in the most amazing way. Using special mechanisms, he makes his figures move, transforming a static piece of art into something dynamic and captivating. This work instantly becomes 10 times more interesting and makes you want to stare at it for hours because each figure does something different. While some people save up to buy a fancy camera with a top-notch lens, other artists focus on honing their drawing skills. And as you can see, sometimes they don't even need a camera to capture reality perfectly. Besides, no photograph can compare to the experience of creating a work of art from scratch. There are so many different styles of tattoos out there, with new ones popping up every day. But this style takes originality to a whole new level. The tattoo artist had the brilliant idea of making the tattoo look like an embroidered patch. The result is mind-blowing. The tattoos look like they were sewn on, not inked by a tattoo artist. I have to admit, even without blinking, this doll was way too lifelike. Yes, you heard that right. It's just a doll. It's mind-boggling to think about how many hours went into making it look so real. But for this artist, it's probably no big deal. His works are just as unique and incredibly realistic. You might think it's impossible to create a stunning painting using just nails, right? Well, think again. This guy makes it look easy. Of course, it helps that he's insanely talented. I bet he was that weird kid in art class who came up with the most unique projects while the rest of us were still painting basic landscapes or little houses. You can't spend the bills this artist makes, but that doesn't mean they're not valuable. In fact, you won't find any other banknotes in the world with such tiny and intricate drawings. I'm sure that after the girl shared her video, tons of people wanted to buy her artwork, offering her way more than the bill's actual value. Ever thought about getting a rug for your place? Hold that thought until you check out the one this artist makes. They'd make a gorgeous decorative piece, but it's kinda sad to walk all over them knowing that dozens of hours of work went into creating these amazing works of art. So you might as well hang it on your wall. Picture this. Your partner finds an amazing handmade comb, buys it, but forgets to mention it. Days later, you walk into the bathroom and see this. Still, you gotta admit that the artist must be incredibly skilled to transform a simple comb into something that stirs up so much emotion. When epoxy became all the rage, people started customizing pretty much anything they could get their hands on. And eventually, this trend even reached coffee tables. Check out how this artist transforms simple objects into extraordinary home decor pieces. The key ingredient here is epoxy resin. Although even with all the right materials, not everyone could come up with such a creative idea and pull it off. If solving a single Rubik's Cube takes you a while, imagine trying to solve 500 of them. Which is exactly what the star of this video did, putting all of them together to create a super unique portrait. You won't believe what happens when you add 17 more layers of material to ordinary ceramic mugs. The results are stunning! From the get-go, the process is super satisfying. The artist looks like a kid in a candy store, using tools to create incredible patterns. And the people who end up buying these mugs will be just as thrilled to admire them.